Hello, and welcome to tonight's Menopause Mixer. I'm your host, Delayna Watkins. And of course, I'm excited because we're bringing you another amazing guest on tonight's Menopause Mixer. So, you all know I typically try to do guests and shows and really gear this mixer towards what I see as a trending topic in our Black Women in Menopause support group. And we've had guests come on about this particular topic quite often. But I just feel a lot of times when we have new members join the group, this topic kind of creeps back up there to be one of the top three. And so tonight we're going to talk about relationship and intimacy during midlife, menopause, and beyond with our special guest. So I want to take an opportunity to introduce you all to her. I took the time to really look at what the work that she's been doing in the community. You all know I like to try to say that I do my job by vetting out these people that I bring into the group, and she has just captivated me with her work that she's doing in the relationship realm and intimacy, right? So sex is one thing. Intimacy, and especially intimacy in midlife, is truly where I want us to make sure that we're leaning in and getting great information. I know we talk about the physical symptoms and things that happen when we're going through midlife and menopause with, various things that our vagina is experiencing between the vaginal dryness and atrophy and just low libido and all of those different things that I hear us talking about. But we're going to delve a little bit deeper into really what that looks like. And tonight's special guest is none other than Debra Barnes Hamilton. So I am bringing her in front of you tonight, and she is just amazing. So welcome to the show, Debra. How are you?
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to quickly just tell you what she's been doing. Don't she look beautiful? She's even going with tonight's color scheme. So she is a relationship and intimacy coach who has dedicated her life to helping married women and couples find harmony, understanding deep connections in their relationship. She understands the struggles that come with maintaining a healthy, fulfilling marriage, and that's why she created Nurture Your Love, and that's her platform. And so, Debra, are we in the right place, in the right space at the right time, or what?
Oh, yes, we are, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about tonight, although I say I do it based on what I see in the group, I need this too. Okay, I'm not even going to kid. There was a dry spell that we went through, not only just physically, but also in our marriage. My husband and I are at the same age. And so I knew that if I was experiencing some lulls and some, relationship kind of disconnect, he was also at the same time. So I know you're going to be sharing some nuggets with us that will help with understanding how to maintain the intimacy, how to kind of bring back the intimacy, and what that looks like. So I'm going to just allow you to kind of take it away by just really starting with explaining to us what the difference between being sexual, having sex, and really just that intimacy piece of it.
Well, like I tell my women in my Married Women's Forum, everything starts outside the bedroom. And I think that that's something that we don't really think about. How are we interacting with our spouse during the day? Are we sending those sweet nothing texts if everybody works, right? Are we doing different things like sending texts, making these phone calls? One of the things that I do, and I've been trying to encourage my women to do this. Some of them have done it. Is when was the last time that you actually sent your spouse a card in the mail? You actually went out, bought the card, put it in the envelope, and mailed it, right? Everything that we think of doing always starts outside the bedroom. When was the last time you teased your spouse? I mean, my husband and I tease each other all the time. We're both home, even though I am a coach. I work from home, right? So we interact with each other throughout the day, but one of the things that I make sure of is that I connect. So when I say those texts that we send out or that phone call, are you making them? Are you just assuming that when you get home, that everything is going to be just fine. No, you got to tease. You got to have that anticipation going on. It's a lot, but those are little tidbits I want to give right now.
Nope, I love that. So um I didn't mail a card, but I did put a card in my husband's vehicle so that when he got in there the next morning, it
Yes,
would be the first thing he would see. I sat it on his steering wheel, again trying to think outside of the norm, and
yes,
like you say, intimacy starts outside of the bedroom. So I did do that. And inside of the card, so it was a very, juicy old spicy old card, but
hmm,
inside of it I had created this coupon that was, something that he could redeem. And I can't remember now what it said, but it was sort of like a, kind of a flirtatious coupon that he could redeem later
yes,
on that day. So that was something, again, as I was trying to, really work through this dry spell that we were having, this, this whole intimacy thing as I was going through perimenopause. That was something creative. I didn't mail it because we are horrible about going to the mailbox. I'd have
we
been
are too.
anticipating, and I probably would have said, "Did you check the mail today? Are you going to the mailbox? Did you go to the mail?" Like I would have been like sort of
Right.
prompting him to like go to the mailbox. So I'm like, "Well, what's wrong with you? What are you waiting for? What are you looking for?" But I did put it inside of his vehicle on the steering wheel. So I get 2 points for that.
Yes, you do. You get lots of points for that.
Yeah, I get two
There's
points for
so
that.
many things that we could do, that
Mhm.
we don't even think about, because one of the things that happens as we're in our marriages is that we become static. It becomes that status quo.
Mhm.
And that's why we have those times in our marriage where things are just ho hum,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Because we're not keeping that spice going. And
Yeah.
I am a true believer in keeping the spice going.
Yeah, I
So,
gotta honestly say, doing that, and it's just even though nothing's happened, right? I had
right,
nothing
right.
happen from me putting the card in the, in his vehicle. However, the anticipation of him finding it and reading it, just, and how his response to it was like, just spiced it up right then and there. We didn't even do anything. I didn't even, nothing happened, but it was just, kind of getting that whole butterfly feeling going,
Yes,
just knowing
yes.
that he was going to get in there and be like, well, when did you do this? How did you get in my car? Where was I at? Like all of those
Right.
things. And just the thought of the fact that I even thought to do that, I think,
Yes,
again, really just set the tone for, that whole day when that happened. So yeah, I can see how just something like that could really, kind of get your juices flowing.
it can. It
Yeah.
definitely can. And it's always things that you could do. Even just putting a post-it note on the pillow before they come
Mhm.
to bed at night,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
and just like excuse me, just like you were saying, I am so sorry. I constantly drain you guys. Sorry about that. But just like you were saying with the card, even though nothing happened,
Mhm.
it was the
Yeah.
anticipation. It
Yeah.
was a little spice
Mhm.
that you added to your day.
Yep,
Right?
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so I want to see who's joining us tonight. I just was checking in the chat, and we have some amazing people joining us. So I want to take this moment again to welcome Dr. Debra Barnes Hamilton with us tonight. She is with Nurture Your Love, and we're talking about relationship and intimacy, right? In midlife, our midlife intimacy. It shifts. I used to find myself being a little promiscuous, a little frisky, a little, doing some little things and all of this. And, physiologically things shift and change. Our lives get busy, right? And so there's a couple of different things that play into what may impact that. So that's the conversation that we're having tonight. And I want us to just really throw questions in the chat, talk about some things that you've been doing, because you may free a woman tonight. You might, save a marriage this evening. So
That's right.
I mean, share what it is that you've been doing and or what you all have encountered. And so I want to welcome, let's see who we have. We've got Autumn Ray, Patricia, we got Sandra, Rochelle, Tamika, Vanessa, Sandra, Terry. I'm scrolling back. Eunice, if I miss you guys, hello and welcome, Patrice and Patricia. And then we got a few people commenting in the chat. They said, now, oh, somebody commented when I said about the card. They said, now that's a good one about the post-it note and about the putting the card in the vehicle. And we have a couple of people saying hello and hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the show. Again, drop in the chat if you all have done something recently, or maybe you thought about it, or maybe you want to ask us if it's something that you think that you should do, or what can you do? Maybe you came here for answers, advice, give and receive. That's what tonight's Menopause Mixer is all about. We really want to hear from you as well. All right, Deborah. So let me skip on back to the whole intimacy thing. What typically causes us to kind of, I don't want to say drop the ball, but kind of get into this realm of, as you mentioned before, kind of like the status quo, or like what I referred to it as the dry spell. What are some things that can put us in that kind of state or that frame of mind when you talk about your relationship?
Well, let's back up just a little bit. If we're going to be talking about menopause,
Hmm.
menopause affects it affects women differently. Everyone doesn't have the same experiences, right? But menopause can cause a lot of inner changes that you go through in your relationship, in your body. So it does affect your relationship, right? I mean, let's just talk about the hot flashes. Let's talk about the irritability. Let's just talk about I just don't feel like it. And then you really want to go even deeper. Let's talk about the changes in our body. Let's talk about how we age and how all of that can affect us. Like all those different things we used to do when we were younger, we might not be able to do those things. So we find alternative ways to have a good time. And I am a firm believer in doing things differently, not the same, just try to come up with something differently. So menopause causes changes. And we have to think about, okay, so what's changing? Okay, I'm having hot flashes. Do you have hot flashes 24/7? What are you doing about those hot flashes? Do you have dryness? Dryness is critical because if you have dryness, that truly affects your ability to have pleasure, to feel good about yourself. You know, you're worried about how am I going to feel this time around? So, all these things come into play when you're dealing with menopause. So, it does affect the way you feel about yourself and intimacy. But I do want to tell you guys a secret. The secret is when it comes to your body, your husband doesn't care. They don't care. They love you for you. They've seen how your body probably transformed, right? They don't care. So we need to stop worrying about what our body looks like.
Yes.
Embrace it.
That part, that part, I had to definitely take you also. That part is oh so true. And
Yeah,
my husband says that all the time. We think that, we
yeah,
feel that obviously because
yeah.
we, live in our bodies. So we're thinking that, but it is absolutely true. They really and truly love you and they don't care. They
Right.
love you through all of that, right? The,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. So I have a couple of comments that I want to put up from some of our ladies that are joining us. And this one says, my husband and I just went on a date. Yes, date, date, date. I always tell him, you got to date me. You have
yeah,
to date me. So
yeah.
this was Latrice. Latrice said her and her husband just went on a date.
I
Yes,
love it.
Latrice, date me. We still, dates are important. So what
They
my
are.
husband and I are doing for 2024, and we've kind of always done this, but I think again during that dry spell and kind of lifing, we got away from it just a tad bit. We enjoy finding different things to do. So we task ourselves with he has to find three um, dates, meaning like whether it's going to do a sip and paint, whether it's going to a clay making class, whatever. We have to find three different dates. So I have to find three and he has to find three. Although going out to eat and all of that to the movies, that's all fun. However, I said this juncture in my life, I've made it to the other side of postmenopause. I am now ready to explore. Let's do some different things. Like I've earned this time to go do whatever. Like right, throw caution to the wind and let's just do it. So that's one of the things that we've decided to do is try different dates. So we've kind of called them like different dates. Now we also have, let's see, this was Patricia. She said, my husband and I live 3 hours apart. It keeps it romantic. We met on Valentine's Day, and it'll be 7 years. He is visiting her now. Oh, I saw this comment from you, Patricia, in the group, in the menopause support group. So, number one, thank you for joining us. I knew you were going to try to make it back to the group. So, thank you for joining us live. Yes, and commenting that. That is so wonderful. One of the Facebook ladies did comment under your post. That is so wonderful. So yes, that is wonderful. And yes, keeps it romantic. Anything you have to say additional about any of those comments, Deborah?
No, I'm loving it. I mean, they're on the right track. They're doing very well. But the one where you live 3 hours apart, keep it going. Keep it spicy. Look forward to seeing each other, and always, welcome him with open arms when he shows up. Or when you go see him, because that's crucial.
Mhm.
Very crucial.
She said, "My boo says that's true." I love it. Thank you, Patricia. See, so that's good. We got the male chiming in saying we're on the right track. I love
Hmm.
it. I love it. All right. So now we talked about again some of the physical changes. And again, we've had these conversations before on our mixers about, again, the vaginal atrophy, the low libido, some of the other various things that may occur, the hot flashes, the insomnia, lack of sleep. Sometimes you can get into this cycle of just feeling like, oh my God, what is going on? Like I can't even get in the bed to go to sleep next to my husband because like I'm having inside. So there's just a lot that can occur that can be very discouraging. So what are some other tips that you can give us that will help women to stay true, stay committed, stay encouraged around that as it relates to their intimacy? I know you spoke and gave us a few tips about some things that we can do. What other advice do you have for us that will kind of keep the flames lit?
Well, I hope, and I don't know everything that you talk about in your group, but I hope that women who are struggling go to the doctor.
Oh yes.
Find the different things that work, because there's so many things out there. I go the natural route. I do bioidentical hormones, so
Mhm.
I go the natural route for myself. But there's so many things out there that we could try that could really help benefit us, and so we don't have to stay in that vicious cycle that I
Mhm.
call of trying to figure out what to do. How can I uh, how can I feel better?
Right.
Right? How can I
Right.
feel better? Because if you don't feel good, you're not going to feel like doing anything, right? You're not going to feel like being romantic with your husband. You're not going to feel like actually doing something for you. But I'm a firm believer that self care is powerful. When you
Mhm.
do something for yourself that makes you happy, then you can show up happy with your spouse. So,
Absolutely.
self care is critical when you are trying to figure this all out, or when you're trying to figure out, okay, well, this is happening to me. What do I need to do about it? We just have to keep coming up with different ways that we could talk to our doctors. I see a herbalist, I see a doc, I see both, right? So there
Mhm.
are options, and I just want you women to understand that there are always options out there for you, and it might take some time to figure it out.
Right.
However, if you really want to feel good, you're gonna have to get help, because
You have to
you have.
explore the options, and that's what again, like you said, what we talk about in the group,
Hmm.
and that's what we're here for, is to provide the resources to tell women what it is that they should be doing. Do not menopause or midlife is not a time in your life to suffer, right? It's not a time
No.
for you to, but it is a time to recognize what's occurring with your body and then explore what works for you, explore the options that are available to you. And so here in the group, we definitely share the resources so that women can understand, number one, what's happening. Because a lot of times it just kind of comes what it seems like out of nowhere, and they're like just trying to figure it out. So that's number one, is validating that you are experiencing, perimenopause or menopause. A lot of women just come in the group like, what is happening? So it takes time for them to really figure out that this, yes, is the feminine evolution, as I always refer to it as, right? So just understanding that and taking the time to know that. So I want to kind of just visit a couple other comments we have from some of our viewers. And this person said, I mail lovers coupons to my significant other. It keeps him excited. I love it, love it, love it. I told you I made me a little fake coupon and put it in my card. It does. It is a very intriguing thing, right? It kind of like, it does. It keeps them excited and it lets them know that you find them attractive and that you still want to be intimate with them as well. So, yeah, that's a really good one.
I
Um,
love it.
yeah, and let's see, we have one. Um, viewer, I think this was Rochelle, who said, absolutely, I do the bioidentical pellets and she loves them. No hot flashes, lots of energy, and lots of moisture also. So those again are other options, like you talked about before, seeing a naturalist, and a naturopath, as well as your regular primary care provider or
Mhm.
whomever, your OBGYN. Get them all involved and make sure that everyone understands what it is that you're experiencing and then what it is that you want as an outcome as a result of all of that. Okay.
Right.
And then let's see, we have another viewer who says, I no longer suffer because I take bioidentical estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone hormone therapy. Intimacy is now amazing again. Can we give, see?
Yay.
Yes. So as we go through midlife and menopause, we lose the protection of estrogen. So again, you
Mhm.
guys heard me say that estrogen is like queen. And so, when that begins to take this roller coaster sort of nosedive, various things happen within our bodies. And we just have to know what's relative to that in our own individual experience. So that's amazing. So now I want to ask you another question. We're already hot and heavy into this. So this is something that I think warrants, and it kind of is going to move us a little bit away from this. Um, and it's talking about the communication and openness that fosters into a healthy, intimate relationship, okay, for individuals who are navigating menopause. Now, I'm going to just lead into that question with my story. I had to sit down and have a conversation. And my husband and I are very open. We communicate quite well. And I had to say to him, listen, this is what's going on, and like explain it, because you don't want to go from kind of being very very intimate and very sexual and hands all over the place and kind of, as he say, humping like rabbits, to suddenly we're like not doing anything. We're like two ships passing in the night, or like I'm like the Mojave Desert down there, like what is going on. He's like, what what's happening? So yes,
Mhm.
tell us the importance of the openness and the communication in a relationship as it relates to that.
That is so important. Communication is needed no matter what, right? No matter whether you're in menopause or not in menopause, communication is huge. And when we take the time to, first of all, what I recommend is just take the time to think about what you're going through, right? What are your symptoms? What is your game plan about how to resolve those symptoms? And then you can sit down and you can have an ongoing conversation with your spouse, not just this is what's going on and then drop it, because we have different stages in which we are dealing with menopause. One minute we could be having hot flashes, the next minute it could be something else, right? So it's that ongoing dialogue that you can have with your spouse to talk about how you're feeling. You think about some of the things that you want to do, you want to try to help with that situation. And even, it might even be a good idea for your spouse to go to the doctor with you to find out what the options are, or to have your doctor really explain what's really happening to you. Because sometimes we don't even, just like Delayna was saying, sometimes we don't know what's happening with us, right? So having that dialogue, expressing how we're feeling now. I just want to say this. I've been in menopause since I was 26, right?
Mhm.
So I had a surgical
Surgical.
menopause. So I've
Mhm.
been in menopause for a very long time.
Mhm.
And I had to figure out what my body needed, and it has changed over the years. But on top of that, I also have what's called interstitial cystitis. So it definitely affects my
Mhm.
pelvic floor. Okay, it affects everything down there.
Right.
So I have that combo. So one of the things that I'm constantly doing is communicating with my doctor,
Mhm.
communicating with what's happening to me, what are my options, and then I share that information with my husband,
Yes.
because there's no sense of trying to pretend that everything is okay.
Mhm.
There's no sense of trying to act like oh, honey, I just don't feel like it, or I have a headache. No, you just have to be open and honest with your
Right.
spouse so that your spouse can understand what's happening.
Yeah, and I find that if we do that, then he's more apt to say, okay, well, maybe we need to do, like, he actually was telling me things that we needed to do. Like, he was suggesting various things that we could try or do, or at least he was mindful of it so that
Right.
also he could change his approach to it too. So I do um definitely know that communication is key. And even if you don't know, say you don't know and say, I'm exploring, I'm investigating, I'm trying to
Right.
find out, but this is what's happening. I'll make doctor's appointments. And like you said, have him come with me to the
Mhm.
doctor appointment, or immediately following the appointment, tell him what was, talked about, what was said,
Mhm.
and all of that. It kind of really just keeps him in the loop without really being in the dark about what's going on. I mean, I find that I'm already in the dark about what's happening anyway. I might as well, kind of make him part, like both of us be in the dark. So for sure. All right. So we got a couple more comments. Let's see. I think this is Sandra wants to know, what was the natural product that you said you take?
I'm similar to the other person who commented. I was on the pellets for a while, but my doctor took me off of them. I'm not happy that she took me off of them.
Right.
However, she felt like I had been on them too long. So I do the bioidentical progesterone, which helps me sleep. And I do the testosterone, which also gives me the energy and the vitality that I need to have. And I do the estradiol, but it's not bioidentical estradiol. So I
Okay.
do that like 3 times a week, just to be lubricated.
Right.
And like I was, because I was saying, I have two things going on that affects that area.
Hmm.
So I'm more of a challenge than anything, but
Yeah.
I've never, like I said, I had surgery when I was 26, but I never ever allowed it to stop me from figuring out ways to have a good time,
Right. But what
because
I
we
like
can do
about
it.
that, yeah, that's what I was going to say. What I like about that, and what makes your story or your situation, your experience unique is, again, you became empowered behind it,
Yes.
right? And what I share with the ladies in the group all the time is track your triggers or monitor your body, understand what's going on, what's happening, because no two women are going to experience
Mm-mm.
this journey the same. Maybe similar, maybe relative, but it will not be the same. So, I really love how you said I had two things going on. And so, what may have worked for one thing may have impeded something else, or we have to look at both things together as a whole. So, let's see. We also have a viewer who said, due to medical issues, I am not able to take hormone therapy. Do you have any advice or options for my situation? Ooh. So that definitely is, and I think this was Eunice that made this comment. Oh, Latrice. So Latrice. So that's definitely going to be individualized. And why I say that is, what symptoms are you experiencing? That sometimes there may be other things that you can do that will help those particular symptoms without having to necessarily revert back to it being something hormone related. So Latrice, I can send you a link. I'm going to post it in the group, where if you want to have a menopause consultation, we can do that. And we can see what it is that you are experiencing and try and get that, get you kind of on the right path with that. Let's see. We have Rochelle who said, no, let's see here. She went into menopause at 45 years old. Yeah, given a lot of mood sedatives, nothing worked. A lot of women are prescribed mood sedatives in the early perimenopause stages.
Mhm.
Just recently having my hormones levels adjusted, and my goodness, feeling great. See, again, it's exploring what you knew did not work for you, right? A lot of people, they will put you on mood stabilizers and things like that, a lot of SSRIs and things. And so you just have to see if individually it's not um, working for you, or you're not feeling any better coming out on the other side of it. And again, they're only medicating the symptomology and not looking at the whole picture. And so that's when I find that most women are getting frustrated, is because a lot of, and it's not necessarily their fault. I wouldn't say that your doctor is bad or they're not good. They're doing what they know to be right for you at the time and the situation with the little bit of knowledge or information that they have. And so that's what I'll say. I won't say that, oh, you've got a bad doctor, find a new doctor. No, I won't necessarily say that. But I think now we're doing better just by having the conversation, just by going into the doctor's office armed with more knowledge. to understand what to say and how to phrase it. So
Yeah, I'm a true believer in being your own advocate.
yeah,
You have to advocate for yourself. You have to continue to let your doctors know what's working and what's not working for you. And I've spent years doing it, and I have to say I have had some really wonderful doctors who listen and who are willing to do what I need them to do. So advocate for yourself
absolutely.
all the time.
So one last question before I move on, and I think this is a really good question from Rochelle, which is why I want to take it. And it says it took 10 years though for her to get off of the mood stabilizers. Like it was like she was, kind of on them and not really, kind of getting that targeted help. Do we feel like African American women or our tribe are educated enough regarding HRT? My answer to that is absolutely not. I think that just like with a lot of things, we aren't very well represented in clinical trials, in discussions. And so, because of that, oftentimes what may have been in the um, medical journals or what may have flashed across CNN news about hormone therapy causing breast cancer and increasing your risk for cancer, or not being a, a viable source for people, we take that and we kind of run with it, if you will, not really understanding that there's other mitigating factors as to why those results were the way they were. Instead, we're like, oh, don't give me that, I don't want that, I don't want no hormone. We're quick to just kind of throw our hands up with that. Or oftentimes what happens in the African American community, we may know someone in our family, whether it's our immediate family or an extended family, who may have breast cancer, or who may have been told that hormone therapy is not good for their cancer, and then automatically we embody that information and make it relative to us. And so, having said that, I do feel as though more education obviously is necessary and needed, which is why again we host these types of forums to make sure that you're educated and well informed based on the latest information that we know to be true, and that we understand, and how to empower yourself, what questions to ask, how to advocate for yourself, and all of that. So yeah, absolutely, very good question. Thank you for that. All right, so I want to move on to the next topic. So we talked about communication. We talk about being, spontaneous, or, putting that intimacy out there. And the very first thing that I had up on the screen within the first 2 minutes that you came on was that intimacy, or whatever we want to do, whatever we want to occur in the bedroom, starts outside of the bedroom. Like that was just, to me, very like, oh yeah, like hashtag that, make it bold, highlight it. Definitely. And I think that's even more true now at this stage of our relationship, our
Mhm.
marriage, as it was throughout, all of this time. Like I said before, it could just be he could walk past me and have a fresh haircut, or just have some cologne on. I'm ready to just, start taking on my clothes and doing all this. But now it kind of takes a little bit of, a little effort, a little, flirtatious, that kind of starts outside of
Yeah.
the bedroom, right? So as we kind of go and grow through this part of our life. So, what expert advice and insights could you share with us to guide us into maintaining a fulfilling and satisfying intimate connection during this midlife and menopausal years? So, what are some expert advice and insights?
Get to know yourself. Everything starts with knowing who you are and who you want to be and what you like, what your likes, your needs, your desires. All those things matter. And I tell people all the time, how can you ask your spouse to know you when you don't even know yourself? How do you even know what to ask for if you don't know yourself? Right?
Oh, that is so true. Yes,
Yeah,
that is so true. I will tell you. And my husband and I say this all the time, I'm not who you married.
exactly.
I'm not who you married.
Exactly.
I
Right.
am not who you married. He was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Okay, let me explain. We have evolved over the last
Yeah.
19, 20 years that we've together. So who you married in 2000, that's not who is showing up today.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
that's what I mean by that, right? And even us, like you said, getting to know yourself. what may have, made me smile from ear to ear or made me feel a certain way then is not necessarily what's going to do that now, right? Experiences, life situations, career,
Mhm.
professional, whatever plays into who you are, that's definitely shifted and changed outside of just the whole midlife, menopause.
Yep.
That's one realm of it, but just who you are as an individual as well. So, yeah, for sure. Get to know yourself. So what do you think
Yeah.
about that, ladies? Do you think that's true? Do you think that, you know, what you expect of someone outside of you really starts with understanding you and who you are now and what you want? That's an interesting thing. And I think that is absolutely so true. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we take the time to do that, you'd be surprised. You'd
Yeah,
be surprised
definitely.
because, like you were bringing out, we change over the years. We're
Mhm.
not the same person. We don't have the same desires and wants like that we used to have. Our
Yes.
and wait a minute. Oh, by the way, our bodies might not even allow us to be able to do some of the things we used to do.
Oh,
So we
I
have
can
to
promise
change that
you.
dynamic too, right?
I can promise you, yeah. So again, it causes you to be creative, to
Yes.
explore, to find other ways. No, a lot of that acrobatic, different things may not be
Mm.
possible, right? Like we
You gotta
may,
find other ways.
right. But you can find other ways to kind of still feel and explore and experience as well.
Yes.
So yes, someone said, yes, I think that's very true about the comment about knowing yourself. That is a very, yeah, hashtag, yeah. I honestly believe that, doing that because what I feel with that also, Deborah, is if we can't articulate what we want and what we desire, how do we expect our mate to understand what that is if we
Exactly.
don't know what that looks like? If I have no idea what now is making my 53-year-old self smile and feel
Hmm.
good, what makes me, kind of, if I can't articulate that, he's just throwing darts against the wall because he doesn't know either.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So
And
that's so
after
great.
you figure it out, you got to start having the conversations
Mhm.
about what you want.
Right. So
You
that
know?
goes back to what we just talked about a few minutes ago is having the conversation and being open about it, right?
Yeah.
Being open and sitting down and really talking about what that looks like. If you're confused, say you're confused,
Yeah.
Don't pretend, don't act as if, all is well. Say, like me, I was darn near in tears, like, I don't know what's happening. Get him to understand that if it's frustrating for him, it's definitely frustrating for me.
Yeah.
So getting them to understand that as well. So I want to jump back to another comment. Let me see if I can find out who. Um, this was Patricia. I had my doctor take me off of one blood pressure medication that was a diuretic. It caused me to be unable to orgasm. She put in caps, stop taking with laughing emojis. Oh my God. I only take one pill now and my blood pressure is well controlled. Absolutely. So, again, Patricia, this goes back to whenever you were put on that medication, it could have been prior to perimenopause or prior to you're losing out on your estrogen as your body is going through changes. So what may have worked for you at that moment in time as your body was changing and evolving and going through this whole feminine evolution obviously was affecting something else. So kudos to your doctor, and thank
Mhm.
goodness she was able to say, okay, no, stop taking this. Let's, try a different medication that will, one, help to maintain your blood pressure, get that control, and not interfere with you having an orgasm or interfering with your sexuality, your sexual reproductive health as well. So yes, kudos to your doctor. All right. So then we have Robin. So she's joining us, and she said, "Getting a Charlie horse. My husband and I have to laugh when that happens. Oh my goodness, yes. So yes. Oh yeah, you did. That made me think back to a funny situation. Yes, the whole Charlie horse thing. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, when that happened to us, what we did, and it actually was my husband that got the Charlie horse. We just kind of took that opportunity to like flip it around, and it became a
Yeah.
massage moment. We just
Yeah.
laughed about it, and it became a massage moment. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna flip this around. So,
Yeah.
you got anything funny or anything to add to that, Deborah?
It happens all the time.
Okay, yes. Deborah said it happens all the time. So yeah, right. Thank you for that. You are not alone, my sis. You
No,
are
you're
not
not
alone.
alone. It happens, and you just figure out other positions to get into that could alleviate that Charlie horse that you might have.
Yeah,
And that's the key to all of this is
yeah,
finding other ways. Everything doesn't have to be the way it was or the normal way of doing things. No, the best part about this whole situation is you get to explore, you get
right.
to find other ways to have fun and excitement. And
Yeah,
that's what this is all about. And I love that comment because sometimes when things are happening, only thing you can do is laugh about it,
yeah,
right? Just have a good
yeah,
laugh. Don't get serious. Don't
yeah,
act like the world has ended because it happened. No, laugh
exactly.
about it and keep it moving.
And keep it moving. That's it. Laugh about it and keep it moving and see how well you can segue into something else and keep it moving. So
Yeah,
that's exactly what we did. We just kind of segued into it. It happened. Let's just move on. All right.
yeah.
It's your left leg that's locked up. He got his leg all up in the air doing this, and
That's
I'm just
right.
like
That's
rolling
right.
over, just
Remember, I
massaging nice.
said that there are things that we have to change. Our
Yeah.
legs might not go as wide as they used to
Mhm,
or up as
mhm.
high as they used to.
Yep.
So,
Or you
when
may
that
need a pillow
happens,
to prop up some parts or do some different things,
there
again,
you go.
especially if you have
Now you have to put a pillow under your back. You just
yes. For some of those ladies that are dealing with pelvic floor issues or,
Mhm.
pain or having it hurt, I've had those comments as well. So there's different things that you can do and modify it, and I'll say to him, okay, what pillow we using today? The big one, the small one, the fat one, the
Yep,
fluffy one, the hard one. What we doing? How we working this out and make him
yep.
part of it, and vice versa. So yeah, definitely. All right. Yes, Rochelle said this is good, ladies. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm glad you all are enjoying this. And thank you all for being open, honest, and sharing your experiences as well. So, the mixers, again, are meant to not only provide information, but to be an opportunity for the community to get involved so that you're getting your questions answered. I ask questions that I think are relevant or that I see being posted in the group, but it's nothing like having your very own personal question addressed live or just in the moment, or again, not feeling like, is this the only person that's experiencing this? Am I the only one going through this? Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Not
No,
at all.
not at all. Not at all. As you can see, and this is only a small portion of us that's in the group that are represented tonight. But as you can see, the conversation is very much like, oh my goodness, yes, girl. Oh my gosh, yes, I've had that. It happened to me as well. So, lastly, before I let you go, I wanted to ask this question. How can partners actively support each other in relationship intimacy amidst the changes brought about by menopause? We talked about this a little bit, but is there some other things that you want to share? So, I want to give you that opportunity to talk about that. If there's different ways that we can actively support being supported, or if there's something that we can share or learn here that we can then tell our significant other.
Well, one of the things that we don't think about is andropause. Men have like it's menopause, but
Yes.
some people call it menopause, but it's actually the legal name or the medical name is andropause. So men are going through things just like we are. As men age, they wind up having problems just like we do. Think about one of the things that happens as men age. Their libido goes down, muscle mass goes down. So when you think about how your man is changing, and then, oh, by the way, you're changing, that dialogue again needs to be open. You need to talk about it. You need to understand that your man is going through changes as well. And when you're talking about it and when you're laughing about it and you both joking about how you might be feeling or maybe you can't do this anymore, it's all about communication. It's all
Yeah.
about having fun. And I can't stress this enough. You have to laugh at yourself.
Mhm.
You have to laugh at yourself
Yes.
because if you are so serious and you're focusing on the negative aspect of it, you will never have a good time anymore. You're too
Nope.
busy worried about the aches and pains. You're too busy worrying about how your body looks, but focus on the the fun periods of time that you have. We're
Yeah.
not in menopause 24/7.
Right.
And that's the piece I want you to get. You're not struggling 24/7, especially when you're getting help.
Hmm.
So that conversation you can have, the different things that you can use. And let me just say this, because a lot of people think that inserting something is a bad thing, but actually, doctors will tell you the dilators help with opening you up to, help with that atrophy that you might have, and that could be a conversation that you can have with your spouse as well, because it's not about. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have self pleasure or whatever. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is if you have to use those types of things to open yourself up, have that conversation with your spouse so that he doesn't think that what are you doing and why are you doing that, and so I'm not good enough, because you know how men are, they're going to feel that way.
Yeah.
But use what you need to use to get to where you need and want to be. Those
Absolutely.
are the main things I want you guys to understand. But I also want you to understand that as your man age, he might not be able to do the things that he
Yes.
used to do either.
Yeah. And I will say, Deborah, that again, me being open and vulnerable allowed him to do the same.
Yeah.
So it allowed him to say exactly what you said. Again, they go through menopause or
Yeah.
andropause, as you say, which is really the clinical name for it. He was able to say, listen, I could stand at attention first thing in the morning, but I'm telling you now, it takes a little work. It gave him the opportunity to be like, okay, now let me
Yeah.
just tell you what I'm going through too. So like we both were able to kind of, have that dialogue without wondering how, the other person was going to feel about it. What were they going to think about it? What were make him feel less masculine or whatever the case may be, or me feel less sexy or, all of that. So it was able to, kind of both come together and be like, okay, let's talk about this. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is how I can support you, and etc. Vice versa. So I want to show Patricia's comment. She said that her husband is 8 years older than she is. He tells me about the changes. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, same thing, back to that dialogue, making them feel comfortable, not feeling judged, not feeling, emasculated because they aren't able to, again, get it up at attention. He's like, listen, we're going to have to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even a whole day before we go, the round 2 and 3 and
Yeah.
all. And we would talk about it. Like, he's like, listen, I'm telling you now, this might be a one and done situation today, right? So, but we're having the dialogue so that my expectation isn't here, and he doesn't feel like he wasn't able to fulfill that, or whatever the case may be. We're having dialogue about it. Like you said, we're either laughing about it or supportive through it, whatever. But again, it goes back to the openness and the communication
Mm-hmm.
around it. So yeah, let's see who else we have. Um, Comment from Robin. She said, "This is good. It's like playing doctor and patient role playing." Yes.
I love it.
Like that. Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. Let's see. We have another comment. Let's see who this is. Latrice, this is such a good mixer, and I'm glad I joined. I'm glad you're here tonight too, Latrice. I feel heard for the first
Aw.
time. Yes. Thanks, ladies, and please continue what you do. Absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate that comment
Yeah.
for tonight. Again, to, it was one of those things where you start something because of purpose, passion, or pain, right? And for me,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of all of that for why
Mm-hmm.
I started this group. But definitely my own experience, because being in the healthcare industry and seeing how at the time when I started the group. I think now more so we're starting to see more conversations, commercials, and things like that. But that wasn't the case when I initially started the group. So I'm just glad that we're finally realizing that these conversations are so needed, that we need to have them. But I also stress and say, make sure you find your tribe. Make sure you get into a group that is able to be supportive and find the information. So Latrice, thank you. I'm glad you found us, your tribe. So for tonight. Yes, I second that. Great mixer. All right, so now I want to put your information up there because you have just been an excellent, excellent special guest tonight on our Menopause Mixer. So I want to take the opportunity to um, put your information up there so that, ladies, if you want to find out more information about Miss Debra, you can do so by visiting her website. And it is nurtureyourlove.com. and she's also on Instagram at Nurture Your Love. So make sure you go out and you find her, find out what she's doing out here in the community. We just realized when we were back in the green room before we went live that we're not too far from each other. So I'm sure
Mhm.
that we will be doing some things together in the near future. Of course, probably have you back on the show. I always like when I have amazing guests, and especially for the Menopause Unveiled Summit that we have coming up in October. To send an invitation to you to be a special guest on there as well. So, any parting words? I mean, everything that you've given us has been amazing, but I want to take this opportunity as a ladies jot down or go to Instagram and follow you or visit your site. Any parting information or words that you have for us as it relates to our midlife intimacy?
I just want to say that no matter what you're going through, you are amazing. You are awesome. You are loved. And your husband, your man loves you, and just realize that this is just part of life. Most women, not everyone, but most women go through this process. But you have people like Delayna and I who are here for you. We're here for you. We're here to help you throughout whatever processes you're going through. I have a Married Women's Forum that I do biweekly, and I love my Married Women's Forum because we talk about all of these different things in our forum.
Mhm.
I just want you to know that this is a process. You're going to find, as long as you're your own advocate, you're going to find your way, and you're going to realize marriage, relationships can be so much fun if you put the effort into it. Just always remember that. It starts with you.
Yes.
And then once you figure out what you want, who you want to be, what your needs and desires are, then you'll be able to articulate that to your spouse and to your man. So just
Right.
keep on trucking on. You got this.
You got this. That right. And that part right there, you got this. I'm gonna put up one last comment from Patrice. I am loving her. She's the one who says her husband is a few hours away from her and he's 8 years older. She said, intimacy. My husband brought me a glass of wine and went to wash the dishes. How sweet. There you go, right?
Love it, love
Absolutely.
it, love it. And that's what we need. We need, but the one thing, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say that it's always nice when we can explain to our husbands what's going on and the
Mhm,
support that we get from
mhm.
them. That is
Absolutely.
so crucial to get that support. And I have like the most awesome husband that I talk about all the time because he does everything and he's just absolutely amazing. So this is my second marriage, so believe me, this is like the
Yeah.
bomb. And I
Yeah.
talk about it on my Instagram and my Facebook all the time about my husband and I. So
Yeah. I
it's
love it.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yes, I've seen your posts and seen your husband participating on as well. So yes, I love it. Again, you all go and follow Deborah. If you're on Instagram at Nurture Your Love, visit her website, nurtureyourlove.com. So again, Deborah, I appreciate you again taking time out of your busy day to join us here on the Menopause Mixer. You ladies have been amazing. Thank you all for your participation, your comments, your energy, your love, just sharing what we do here in the Menopause Mixer and the Black Women in Menopause support group. I love it here. I love that you have found your tribe. I love being the one to bring you this information. I love listening to just all the various experiences that we have. We as women are a incredible being. And so I want you all to know that you are loved and going through menopause is not the end of the world. It is your feminine evolution. You all know I said this is like the most beautiful, amazing, and freeing part of our lives. So, again, make sure you join us back here on next Monday at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we're talking about having that midlife resiliency with our special guest, Jessica Mitchell. So make sure you join us back here next Monday at 7 p.m. Again, I appreciate you all, and I will see you then.